plan for teenagers that might just work for you. It's a great way to build a college resume, and you put it into place when your kid's 2 years old. All right? This is not a teen plan. This is how to get through adolescence without reaching for the quick, easy fixes. 3 things you want to do in problems. The first thing you want to do is you want to make the problem manageable. See, when you see a problem as a mountain, then you look at the top and you say, I can never get there. You look at the base and you say, I can never circumnavigate around it. And what happens? You fall at the base. And you say, I can't. So much of what I do professionally is teaching kids how to take big problems, break them up into small steps, so to transform the mountain into a series of hills. When you think of something as a hill, then you know that a hill's just dirt. All you need is a shovel. And furthermore, when you go up on the first hill, the mountain doesn't seem so far away. The summit doesn't seem so overwhelming. One more step, it's even better. This is what we need to do. This is about making timelines. This is about making, I am now in my jungle chair. I smell a tiger. Well, I have 2 options. One is to be so perfectly still he does not know I exist. But what do most people do? Run. What is the first thing I need to do to run? First thing I need to do is I need to jump. What is the first feeling you would have if a tiger walked into this room? The first feeling you would have would be butterflies. Why? Because assuming you ate breakfast, 40 to 50% of your blood is in your intestines, right? To absorb the food. And butterflies is about the blood going from your intestines to your butt, which is your jumping muscle. And then to your legs, which are your running muscles. Isn't that cool? So that's a lot of the feelings. And then what happens? Then your heart beats really fast. Then what happens? You sweat. Why? So you can cool off while you're running. Your pupils are big. Why? So you can jump over the log even if something's chasing you. You're breathing fast to oxygenate the blood. You can't think clearly at all when there's a tiger chasing you. Why? Because you're not supposed to turn to the tiger and say, can we just talk about this? Right? So when we run, then we use up the acute stress hormone called adrenaline. And we have convinced our body that we have escaped from the tiger. When we have not run, what do we believe? We believe that the tiger is still lurking. We have to remain hyper-vigilant for a tiger attack at any time. I need to be prepared to jump in any one of many directions at any moment. Which, when I am feeling like there's a tiger surrounding me at all times, then I have a secondary hormone that comes into my body called cortisol. Cortisol is the hormone of chronic stress. Cortisol makes it so that I can jump at any time. What do I need my blood pressure to be? High or low? High. It needs to be high if I can jump at any time. Otherwise I jump and I faint. So therefore, when I have my body is bathed in cortisol on a chronic basis, I will do what it takes to keep my blood pressure high. I will always be hypervigilant and worried. I will eat more salt, drink more liquids, eat more fatty foods, more likely to get diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. Another major reason why childhood stress creates lifelong health conditions, because your body resets. Think about almost any, I could go mental health after mental health after mental health. The easiest one is anxiety. What's anxiety? There could be a tiger there, it could be there, it could be anywhere. When you run, you feel better because you've escaped from the tiger. ADD. What is ADD? There are 2 kinds of people out there. There are the deer hunters who can go into a forest and who can absolutely focus on the deer. 20 people focusing on the deer see nothing but the deer. If we were all deer hunters, do you understand we would have died? Because what else is in the forest? Tigers and bears. You also need lookouts. People who are hyper-vigilant, hyper-aware, who are scouts. I'm a lookout. Talking to 300-something people in the room is not a problem for me. I see every one of you because I am a lookout, right? But if I did not exercise for about an hour this morning, you wouldn't even recognize me because I would not have fulfilled my biologic purpose. Running, being safe, making sure the village is okay, I'm a scout. Exercise is key, but sometimes you can't exercise. So the science lesson continues. There are two nervous systems in your body. There is the voluntary system, which says walk, walk, talk, turn. There is the involuntary system, which says beat, breathe, digest. Within the involuntary system, there are 2 parallel systems, and while they interact, they never touch. Okay? One is the chilling system, like life is good, I'm good, and one is the emergency, oh my god, there's a tiger chasing my ass system. They never touch with, just to show that God has a sense of humor, what do you think is the one exception? It's actually male sexuality, where they go like, okay? But other than that, these two systems never touch, all right? So, I couldn't make this stuff up, I'm serious. So what does it mean? It means that if we could only turn on the relaxed, I'm chillin' system, because the systems run in parallel, by definition, why did that guy leave? Did he hate me? It means that if we turn on the relaxed system, by definition, the nervous system will go down. So we've got to look for the switch. There must be a switch. Let's go back to the jungle chair. What is the switch? What can I control? Can I get the sweat back into my pits? Shrink my pupils? Get the blood back into my belly? What can I control? Breath. It's got to be the breath. And this is why when you're talking about Ayurvedic medicine, all of the Eastern or tribal healing paradigms, it's all about breath. When you breathe, things transform. So you have a kid who is freaking out and who's nervous about things. The first thing to do is to teach him what to, okay, here we go. So a kid goes blank on his biology exams, right? That means that the blood is actually in his amygdala instead of his cerebral cortex. He is running from a tiger instead of thinking. What is he likely doing? He's likely sitting in a way that he is leaning forward, which kinesthetically, meaning how the science of the position of the body affects how you think. He is communicating to his body, I'm ready to leap. What is his leg doing? It is shaking. And what that means is that he's communicating to his body, why am I taking this test when there's a tiger chasing my ass? Alright? So what are we going to teach him to do instead? We're going to teach him to change the position of his hips, lean forward, open his legs a little bit, which particularly for males is the universal sign of there's no tiger right now. So open your legs a little bit, and then we're going to teach him to breathe. And he's not going to look like a freak, no one's going to know he's going to do it, but he has to know really reason. We all say take a deep breath, but if you go like this, that does nothing. You've got to stretch your parasympathetic nervous system, and you do that with belly breathing. So it's followed by chest breathe. When you just sit there and you just stretch your belly out with your breath, followed by your chest, your parasympathetic system gets triggered, that's your chilling system, and by definition, the switch changes. Profoundly important, but as I often do, I'm going to skip nutrition and sleep, okay? But they're key. Sleep, when we talk tonight, I am well aware that your kids have too much homework. All right, and there's lots of evidence that suggests that there's a balancing act of when you learn and when you stop learning. So sleep is really important, but there's a lot of other issues that have to do with sleep. Next, we want to deal with emotions. We want to deal with emotions in two ways. The first is we want them to get away from it. We want them not to do drugs. So we want them to be able to take instant vacations. What do instant vacations look like? Instant vacations look like this. Taking a walk, working on a hobby, looking at the clouds, but scientifically the best instant vacation is reading a book, right? If you actually look at functional MRIs of the brain, like what part of the brain is activated, your brain is most activated when you're reading a book. Why? You are visualizing the panoramas, hearing the sounds, smelling the smells, feeling the feelings. And as a result, there isn't room for your other stuff to come in. The challenge with taking a walk is it might be great meditative time, but if you're feeling trauma or you're feeling anxious, it also might be the time when those feelings get heightened. So when you learn to read for pleasure, then what happens is those feelings will just kind of go away. But sometimes you have to do the really, really hard work. Guys, we're talking about stress a lot. My nightmare for your kids is not that they are stressed. It is that they would become numb. God willing, your kids are going to be the kind of kids who, blessed with resources, are going to want to turn around and repair the world. That means that they are going to be exposed to